MoShiach era Paschal and personal insights will learn from our sages that the nation of Israel had reached the 49th level of impurity in Egypt, which meant a very high percentage did in fact worship Egyptian deities in one form or another. The classic and most worshipped was in fact the lamb. Shock horror, I hear you say. Exactly. This is precisely why Moses was groomed and made ready, just in the nick of time, to be the MoShiach of that generation. Worship from Judaism point of view is the 49th level of idolatry, so Hashem instructed Moses to choose this idolatry symbol above all others for a sacrifice to the one true God Hashem and no others. However, most Hebrew loved this idol and animal was very great indeed, and that was the reason for its selection above all others, so they were forced to do something that really hit the nerve on a spiritual and emotional level to break the chains of idolatry in their minds and hearts, which should only belong to Hashem. Then they were forced to keep the lamb as a house pet for a week. Their children would play with it, and as it in effect became a family member of the household. Now came the day of a very great and symbolic test of their faith in Hashem and Moses. They had to wake up and prepare to get ready for the angel of death, which would only spare them if they converted away from idol worshipping of false idol and God in their hearts and minds. Children would cry to not do it, would be angry at their husbands for even doing such a thing, but it had to be done. So stroking and loving the lamb, it was taken outside, and just like Abraham, a very sharp blade cut into the soft tissues of the neck. As its life force departed, the blood was saved, and the lamb butchered into pieces of meat for later. While the blood was still warm and paintable, the doorway was washed down in dripping blood. The Egyptians ran in horror, screaming blue murder, but the local authorities were too scared to take any action. The father came back with the sad news. The children and wife screamed and cried for the rest of the day. It was terrible. Tell me about I talk, but there is a silver lining to this event of death, blood and tears, and that is the angel of death would see this sign of conversion back to the God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob and pass over them in Simeon, while any homes that did not have this sign, be it Hebrew or Egyptian, and had not turned their hearts and minds to the true God, would face the death penalty of the firstborn. So the moral of this is to always have Hashem in your heart and mind,